Enjoy the brilliance. Lauren Shafar, hello.
Yeah, I'm gonna go eat dinner, so I'm gonna have my camera off, but I'm listening.
Okay, hello, Celine. Enjoy dinner. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, how are you?
Great to see you.
Good to see you too.
All right, so I want to start off with our alumni introducing yourselves. If you can let the Milken 11th and 12th graders know when you graduated from Milken and what you're studying at UCLA, if you know what you're studying at UCLA, and then we will dive in. Lauren, why don't we start with you?
So I'm a first year at UCLA, and I originally went in undeclared, and then I switched to biz econ, and then now I'm switching to cognitive science. So I mean, it's pretty easy to switch there, which is good.
Great. Oliver.
I'm Oliver. I graduated last year and I'm a business econ major. Like I applied as that and I'm still that.
Okay. And forgive me, I'm calling you Joey, but your thing says Joseph. Joseph.
No, yeah, you can for sure call me Joey. I think this is done through like the school email, so I have to make it somewhat official. I'm Joey Sarvian. I'm from the Milken class of 2020. And like Oliver, I'm also a business econ major.
And Mr. Narafshan.
Hi, I'm Johnny. I'm also a first year, and like Joey and Oliver, I'm also a busy econ major.
Okay, so the first thing I'll say to our Milken students who are on the call, this is a great group of freshmen. Let's recognize, though, that their freshman year is not typical of what a normal freshman year would be like for a new student at UCLA. Hopefully, for the seniors in this group, if you are seriously considering UCLA, you have a different experience. Speaking of seniors, so I see Celine. I think I heard Celine say that she's deposited and she's going. I know Sophia, Natalie, Kayla, are you guys here as a deposited freshman, or are you still debating?
I'm committed.
Congrats, Sophia.
Thank you.
Natalie?
Oh, me too.
You too. Kayla Rastegar? Oh,
I'm
you're
a
a junior.
junior,
Okay.
yeah.
Junior. Johnny Shanasa, did he say if he is committed?
Still deciding.
Still deciding. So to the 4 freshmen, you have a convert to make. Shannon, you're a senior, correct? Shannon's also committed. I'm reading a chat. Okay. And Davina and Rachel are both juniors. Am I correct? I think. Okay, great. So we have some convincing to do. So actually what I want to do first, there's a lot to talk about, but Jonathan, I'm actually going to turn this over to you first. Do you have any questions or topics you definitely want to hear from the panel about?
Yes, but I think I'll wait for like them to say what they have to say because I'm sure a lot of my questions will be answered.
Okay, so let me ask this question to the freshmen. Again, knowing it's been a little bit of an atypical year. Initial impressions, what has went really well in your first year? What have you loved about the experience? And if you could also be reflective and honest about the things that you're maybe hoping improve, the things that have surprised you. And we'll start with Oliver.
Okay. I think my biggest concern that I remember like when I was like at Milken and we had this panel was the social life. Like I was always nervous that like does UCLA have like a nice vibrant like social life, and like it hasn't been ideal this year, but I have seen like signs of it not being what everyone makes it out to seem. Like everyone thinks it's like really serious students and like it's only like studying all the time. Like it's definitely not that. Like you can make it out to be whatever you want it to be. It's all about the amount of effort you put in. So if you're looking to be serious about like your academics, like that's definitely something you can do. If you're trying to be less serious, like it could be that too. It's just wherever you place yourself. And then what was the other question I have to answer? What I didn't like? Is that the other one?
Like anything that you're really hoping improves that hasn't been ideal.
I guess like this is more specific to my major. I just hope it starts to when it goes to like the upper divisions, it's more like right now it's a lot of math and not so much business. So hopefully it changes to more business and less math.
Okay. Celine, if dinner's good, I'll send you my address and I'm happy to take leftovers. Johnny, we only have you till 7:30. Talk to us.
Okay, yeah. So like Oliver, I would say similarly, I hope that some of my classes do become more business oriented. However, even as a first year, in I think your second quarter, even maybe even first quarter, you can start taking accounting courses, which opens up further into like other like management courses, if that's what you're interested in, which is really nice. Although, yeah, I mean, I guess the little drawback is that it's more right now, like some of our classes are more math based than it is business, I guess. And then, yeah, like Oliver, for sure, one of my biggest concerns at UCLA, and when I was talking to other people who had been to like who had graduated or had just or students right now, was like the social life. And like for me, I decided to join a frat, as well did Joey and Oliver. And so like, although we haven't had like parties or anything like that because of COVID, already it's given me a big opportunity to really get to know some people, and like already expand my social circle, which is really nice. And yeah, I've also, like, although campus hasn't been open yet, I've tried to go on campus quite often just to like walk around, and it is a beautiful campus. We really have a lot of like different amenities that a lot of schools do have, but also like UCLA being in LA really that offers. And then one other thing that I experienced a few weeks ago, which was really special for me, and I would say for most Bruins, is like March Madness and our I guess our how far we placed into the tournament, going all the way to the Final Four. And so I was able to go. So like there's one street called, there's Gailey, and then there's Landfair. Landfair is where like a bunch of the frats are. Also like Gailey's where the main ones are, or most of the frats are. And then there's also Landfair where there's also more like residential housing, and like apartments. So everyone packed into a couple of the streets. And it was a great experience to go out and just like and see people really have that college like life, that college like mentality of just like, you know, being there for your team, being there for your school. Yeah, so like again, for regarding like social life, there's some schools that I know that are for sure what I've seen have been like a lot more wild, or a lot more like they party 4 or 5 times a week. I'm not sure UCLA is, but I think UCLA really offers a great balance of being able to have those opportunities whenever you want, and then also balance that out with school life, extracurriculars, and a variety of other things. Yeah, so sorry for the really long
Some things
answer.
have not changed. Johnny is as verbose as ever. If there's anything possibly left for Lauren or Joey to add, by all means, but I can't imagine what there's still to talk about.
If I can, so I agree with most of what they've said, and I just kind of want to reiterate, like, obviously this year wasn't an ideal year. There were a lot of things that were supposed to be different, but I think something that's important is there's opportunities to get involved in, like Johnny said, Greek life. I got involved in, and I know Oliver and Johnny have also, and Lauren have gotten involved in clubs as well. But you have to kind of reach out and take those opportunities. But if you do, there are social opportunities there. One thing that I've found that's particularly difficult, that is probably my one criticism, getting classes is very difficult sometimes because of how large the school is. It's a public university. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, it requires you to really have a lot of backup plans when you're going in and trying to get the schedule you want. And granted, right now it's a lot easier because a lot of the classes are asynchronous and you can kind of do it at your own pace. But it's just, I know when we're going to go back and you're going to have to actually physically go to class, that's something you should kind of consider and have a lot of backup options before you get your enrollment time.
Thanks for that comment, Joey. Lauren, I want to get to an answer if you have one, but I also want Talia to have a second to introduce herself. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you. If
Hi,
you
guys.
can let our current students know what year you're in at UCLA and what you're studying, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm a first year at UCLA right now, and I'm a psychobiology major.
Great, thank you. And to give you a second to kind of get your bearings, and as you join us, Lauren, anything that wasn't said before, things that have surprised you positively, negatively, go for it.
Yeah, I'll just quickly add that it hasn't been like that easy to be social this year, but like Joey was saying, if you like put in the effort, you can definitely like make it a good experience. So like I feel like the clubs at UCLA are the best way to do that. So like just like applying for a bunch of clubs your freshman year is a great way to get started. And like, yeah, frats and sororities too. And then in terms of what Joey was saying about the classes, that's definitely been the most difficult thing for me. It's basically the opposite of Milken. Like there's no nurturing. The counseling is like not the best, honestly, if I'm being honest. So you have to put in a lot of the work yourself, which is like, that's fine. It's just like a huge transition, I would say. So like you have to be prepared for that. And you have to know what you want and like fight for it, honestly.
Talia, anything you want to add? I know you missed some of the other comments, but go for it.
Yeah, I will have to agree that getting classes is pretty hard. Luckily, so far I've been able to enroll in like all the classes that I've wanted, but a lot of the times it's been like a week after like classes began, after people drop. So you kind of have to like also like play like catch up, and like you just have to like wait and see what happens. Like they were saying, always have backup plans. For the social aspect, it is definitely harder to connect with people. There is a Facebook group though, for UCLA students, and like you can meet a lot of people there. I know when we thought we were going to be dorming, you reach out to a lot of people from like the introductions they make on that Facebook page, and that's kind of like one way you make friends in the beginning. Um, Other than that, as they were also saying, getting involved in clubs is a really good idea too. It's a good way to meet other people who like have like the same interests as you, or like same like career paths potentially. Yeah.
Great. I know we have a lot of students in the room who are seniors who've deposited. I think Jonathan might be the only one still debating, and we have a lot of juniors. I'm curious, a question I'm asking for the 5 freshmen. I don't remember all of your processes. I only worked with Johnny, and Lauren. You all chose to stay home and to go to school in Los Angeles. I'm not asking if you have a regret about that, but advice for the younger students about, or maybe your own personal opinion about staying home versus deciding to go somewhere farther away. All of you don't have to speak to this if you didn't actually have options to go away. But anybody want to touch on that decision and how it's been to be in LA? Joey?
Sure, yeah, I can talk about that. I'll just preface it with this. Like for me, when I went through the whole college application process, my priority was to stay home. I wanted to stay relatively close to home. Granted, if the right opportunity presented itself, I was willing to go, but it's hard to turn down UCLA when you want to stay home. So I think for me, the things that went into that decision were being a family oriented person. So I liked having the flexibility of being, and granted, I haven't had this yet because I lived at home this year, but I'm going to have the flexibility to, go to a Shabbat dinner, be around the family, but also when I want to, I can be on campus and kind of be living that like more typical college life. And to me, that was something really important. Another area I kind of thought about was I know I want to work in LA. Like I know I want to stay here when I'm older. And I think just from a networking perspective to, start growing your roots sooner rather than later is a good thing. If you get an internship, if you get a job opportunity here, and it's something that can potentially grow into something bigger, I wanted to kind of be here and let it, naturally grow. So those were kind of the 2 big considerations I had. And I don't regret it. I think for me and my needs, it was probably the right choice.
Great. any other perspective that any of the, Johnny, you've unmuted, go for it.
Yeah, I can speak to that. For me, I initially really want to, like, towards the end of my college application process, I really want to get away from home. And then it was limited down to 2 schools, which are relatively close to home. And so when I chose, sorry, let me move so I'm not my parents' conversation. When I decided to go to UCLA, I was really hesitant about being too close to home, not being able to like create that separation between home and like the college experience. Like it made me really nervous, and I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to have that college experience that everyone spoke about. But then as I realized, like over the past few quarters, I realized that it's a real blessing to be able to be so close to home, because you can really make it whatever you want it to be, whether you want to be stuck in Westwood for all like whatever for every like the entire school year and then come home during breaks only. You can do that, and you can imagine like you're in another city, away from your family if that's what you want to do. But if you want to spend a Shabbat at home, or if you want to just come home because you're too stressed out with work, or if you're too stressed out with whatever it is, you always have that opportunity to come back home. You don't have to pay, you don't have to fly, you don't have to like, you can just drive 15 minutes to get home instead of getting a 3-hour flight back home, which really just like limits you. So it is a real blessing. And like, that was one of my big issues coming to UCLA. And I think now that I'm here, now that I've like struggled with that a little bit, I've realized how much of a blessing it is to be so close to home. And yeah, I think also when you get to go with other people, when you like experience UCLA with people who are new to LA, it gives you a different perspective on like LA itself. Like when I was doing some stuff for our frat, we had to travel a little bit around the city, and to be able to like show people around the city and show like what I did growing up and stuff like that, or what I do on a daily basis. Like where I go was like gave me a new perspective on LA. And so yeah, I think it's a real blessing to be able to be so close to home, honestly.
Any other freshmen want to make a comment about the proximity to home piece, or have we covered that topic?
I can just like add really quickly that honestly, when I was applying, I always wanted to stay home, and especially with like UCLA, I never had any concerns that it wouldn't be the same college experience that other people would have if they were to go out of state. And honestly, I learned a lot through my sister's like experience actually, because she's a sophomore at UCLA and she had the whole freshman experience. And like what I've seen from her is that she spent a lot of time on campus. She didn't even leave some weeks, and it was basically like she was out of state, but she still had the luxury of like coming home for Shabbats every 2 weeks, which was like really nice, and she really appreciated that. So I think, yeah, you can make the experience if you wanted to see more like an independent experience and more of a college experience, you could definitely do that at UCLA. It won't be a problem.
Okay. So seniors, we have a lot of you in the room who are matriculating, and you may have questions about housing or intramural sports or Greek life. The floor is yours. If you want to unmute and ask questions. Juniors, you are certainly welcome to ask your own questions. Jonathan, at any point during this conversation, usurp everybody else and ask your questions, as you are the lone holdout on depositing, as far as I can tell.
Thank you.
I want to open it up to any of the current Milken students who might have some things they want to learn about. Go ahead, Sophia.
Hi, I just wanted to ask, you guys had sort of a similar experience to us last year where you were online for the end of your senior year. And for us, we've been online for a full year now. And one thing that worries me about like going back to in-person school is like, I think that college is really going to hit us specifically like very hard. And I've just been wondering like, how have you guys been dealing with that? Like, has it felt harder to be in class? Do you think it's going to be even harder like when you're in person? Because it's been so long since you've class, you know?
Great question. Talia, do you want to start that one maybe?
Yes, I definitely can. It's definitely been a transition coming to UCLA. The classes are very different. Like per quarter, we have like roughly 3 to 4 classes versus at like Milken, we took like around like 8 to 9 classes. So it's definitely different. The like the course load is also pretty heavy. There's like a lot to learn with like only like a 10-week span. However, I do think that even in the online setting, like all the professors have set up so many like additional resources to help us with our learning. So like you don't really feel too behind, honestly. It is a little like personally for me, it's a little harder to like learn online than like in like an in-person lecture type of thing. But I've adjusted to it and now like I feel like going into like this third quarter at UCLA, like I'm a lot more like confident than I was fall quarter. And I do like going in like next year fall, like if we're in person, I don't think it's gonna be too different compared to what it is right now. The only major difference will probably be like timing. Like a lot of our classes right now are asynchronous. It's like at our own pace. But when we go back, I think we're gonna have like specific like lecture times and everything. So I'm gonna be on like a stricter schedule than I am right now.
Anybody else want to respond
just
to
want-
the idea of in-person learning and that transition?
Yeah, I just wanted to note that I don't know if UCLA has a like explicitly stated this, but I think most of our like lectures, which are usually in big lecture halls of like 300, 400 kids, those, from what I've heard, would like you'd have an option of going in, or they might not even do those lectures in person. So those would be recorded. So like again, I think it would be a really nice transition for new students to be able to have the like the opportunity to kind of build their schedule around that a little bit, because when stuff is asynchronous, it kind of like lets you like space out whatever you want to do, and build your own schedule essentially. However, yeah, I think it will be a little bit more difficult to get back to in-person like discussions, which are sometimes are mandatory, and stuff like that. But yeah, I like Talia. I think also this third quarter, I'm taking like 3 hard classes, I guess, or like yeah, compared to what I was taking the past couple quarters, and I feel the most confident that I have in the past this entire year. That's just because of the adjustment period, despite all the online learning. Also, like when you have a bigger like a larger course load, you're for sure gonna just like have to pay more attention, and you're gonna get your stuff done. You're gonna be able to do it. Yeah.
I just also
Yeah.
want to say, like, in terms of like course load and course rigor, I took mostly GE classes. I'm starting to take major classes now, but we were prepared to take them. Like, it wasn't like anything ridiculous. Like, you think of, okay, college might be a completely different level. Like, Milken prepared us well. We obviously had to put time into it, and you have to study, and obviously you have to do your stuff and your work and watch the lectures, but it's all very doable if you stay on a schedule. And I think being online, the hardest thing was staying on the schedule. There were times, if you miss a lecture or two, then it kind of builds up and then you're kind of behind the whole quarter. But if you can kind of stay on, and I think that applies in real life too. If you can keep up with your work, you should be good.
Shannon Chad has a question. You guys did not get to live in the dorms, but she's curious how you think dorm life would have changed your experience. Let's start with Oliver on this one.
I think one, like it would have been nice to meet more people like on your floor and whoever's like near you, like your neighbors and stuff. And also that it would have been fun to become more independent, even though like I feel like I'm an independent person, but like being in that environment would have definitely like pushed me more. But like also I feel like it would have been a little more rough to adjust to like balancing more of a social life with the classes I'm taking. I think like I've gotten a lot of flexibility being able to like have asynchronous courses where I could literally just finish the work in like 2 days and be on top of my stuff and not have to worry about doing other things. But definitely it would have been nice to in my freshman year meet more people than I have, even though like I feel like I've still managed to meet people.
Lauren, anything you want to add about the dorm piece?
Yeah, I think, I mean, if we were able to have that dorm experience, it would have been completely different. Like I think we would have been able to learn how to balance like our workload with our social life, which is like a huge aspect of like going to college. And right now I've just only been like focusing on my work basically. And it's been very like, it hasn't been difficult. It's been a smooth transition from Milken. But I think once you're on the dorms, it is a lot. Once you live in the dorms, it is a lot to like manage. It's a lot to balance. Just being around people all the time. And I think, yeah, that's just something we would have been able to do if we had moved in. And I also think we would have been much more engaged with the campus. And like, I've joined like one club and I've been involved with like Hillel, but I think if we actually lived there, we'd be much more involved. Like, we would probably go to Hillel like every Shabbat if that's something you're interested in. And like, I don't know, just engage a lot more with the different things UCLA has to offer.
Julia, excuse me, go for it.
So I'm wondering about the business section, because I know that they don't offer a business major, but I know that there's the business economics. And how do you think that that's been going? Because I wasn't really planning on like doing economics. I don't think, I mean, I don't know that much about it, but I was wondering how that was having that economics aspect in your major.
Joey.
I think so. I think the main difference is, especially right now, we're doing a lot of math-based econ. So it's very theoretical. And from what I've heard from talking to older kids who have gone through the track, is that especially at the beginning, you do a lot more econ, but then once you're kind of because the way it works is you apply, like right now we're a pre-business econ major. We're not actually officially part of it yet. So you have to finish a certain amount of courses, and then you're actually, once you declare the major, then you have a lot more choice on what the courses you want to take. So I think for the initial classes you have to take before you declare, it's a little more econ based. But then once you get into the major, you can take a lot more of the management classes that are more typical of a business school. I know I'm interested in taking like an accounting minor, so you can take a lot more management courses. You can take courses in the actual business school, like that are more upper division. But I just think the main difference is the beginning, like the first year or two, depending on how many credits you come in with, are a little more econ based, and so it's a little more math intensive.
I can add to this because originally I was a business econ major and like I was really into it and that's what I was planning on doing for the next 4 years. And then once I actually looked into the courses, I'm going to be honest, I was like kind of disappointed because it was nothing like what I thought it would be. And I probably should have looked into it earlier. I mean, yeah, like as Joey was saying, eventually you'll start getting into some management classes, but it's very econ focused and not actually like if you want to go into like finance or like anything corporate business like that, sure, like do the business econ major. But the reason I switched is because it doesn't have like entrepreneurship, let's say, which is why I decided to go down like the psychology path. And then they do have an entrepreneurship minor, which is a lot more like a business school you would find at like USC. It has a lot more classes like that. And if that's something you're interested in, you should look into that minor. Because it's completely different from the business econ major. Like that major is not very businessy. But yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Natalie, go for it.
I'm wondering, for those of you who came in with a good amount of AP classes, did you place out of courses? And if the AP class you took couldn't place you out of something, do you still get credits for that? How does it exactly work?
I know as far as the classes I took, like I took like macro and micro, and I got to place out of those. I think you need like a 4 or I don't know, I think it's a 5 to place out of those, or maybe a 4. And then whenever it comes to like Calc AB, you need like a 5 to place out of, I think it's called Math 31A. And then for other classes like Psych and Gov, you do get credits, but you don't actually place out of a class.
I would also say,
think-
Celine, I know as a question, any senior, I spent far too much time with Dylan Shabui going over AP results for UCLA, so he should have all the answers. If he doesn't, that means he was not paying attention when we met, and I want to hear about that because he should have been paying more attention.
It's
Celine,
funny
we'll get to your
because
question.
Dylan actually reached out to me too, and we talked about AP
What a
stuff
jackass,
for
my God.
quite a while.
Oh, he's so annoying. Okay. We'll get to Celine's question in a second. I see Isabella's. She asked about pre-med. Talia, I don't know if you're doing pre-med. You mentioned science stuff. Can you talk about pre-med?
Yeah. So I'm not like necessarily pre-med, but I'm on like the pre-health track, maybe pre-med, I'm not sure yet. But yeah, I can definitely talk about it. So the science courses at UCLA, so far all the ones that I've had are taught by pretty good professors. It is pretty difficult. Milken did prepare us like for like the beginning of like the series, like beginning of like the chem series, like for example at UCLA it's like Chem 14A. I had most of the knowledge just from like chemistry in high school. But then like as like you progress, it gets more difficult and like it's like a lot more stuff you probably haven't learned yet. But overall the classes are pretty good. They're just really hard to get into. There's a lot of like STEM majors who want to get into those science classes. So they are pretty difficult to get into. Another thing is that most times you're going to end up taking like different sciences like at the same time. Like for example, like you'll probably end up taking like chemistry and bio together, or like physics and bio together, just because of like how like the timing works out. So like that's something to keep in mind with like the quarter system. Like it's like a few classes per quarter and then like 2 sciences, maybe like a GE in the beginning. So it's kind of like a lot to take in, but I do definitely think that it's manageable.
Celine.
No, never mind. My question was answered.
Okay. What else is on our mind? Anything about Greek life or Jewish life, or, you know, one question that's come up on a lot of these calls is about post-graduation and career and college, career counseling and networking. Probably a little bit more difficult for the 4 or 5 freshmen to talk about, as you really haven't probably faced that yet. Any other question? Oh, Jonathan, you're raising your hand. I'm so sorry. Go for it.
I was actually about to ask about the networking and career planning and stuff like that. Yeah, I know you guys like don't have a lot of experience with it, but I guess like as freshmen, have you like had any like interaction with that section of UCLA yet?
And before anybody answers, I'll just let you know, Jonathan, if you want to talk to older students or graduates, I could put you in touch. One of our alumni board members is a UCLA grad. Lauren's older sister is a UCLA student, older. So, but if anybody wanted to tackle this question from a first year perspective, go for it.
I appreciate that.
Oh, go ahead.
I know, for example, like Lauren and I are in this club called Tamid, which is like a business club. And that's really allowed us to like meet new people who are kind of interested in the same type of stuff we are, who have similar career interests. And they've also kind of helped us, or at least me, I'm not going to speak for Lauren, but I've gotten in touch with them, talked to them about which classes to take, which one, like what's the right, trajectory I should be on. And they also do help with a lot of like recruiting and helping you, write a good resume. They help you with how to prepare for an interview, what they're looking for, and like if you want to go into like investment banking, if you want to go into consulting, so that type of stuff. Granted, it's a very limited amount of exposure I've had to it, but considering the circumstances, I'm pretty happy with what I've gotten out of it so far.
Yeah, I agree with everything Joey said. And just like to add to that, basically in Tamid, you work on different projects with like real companies, and like the project that I've been working on right now is with an Israeli startup company, and they've already told us that they're like willing to offer us like compensation and like internships in the future. So like through Tamid, you're able to actually make a lot of like good connections and actually find job opportunities. And just like adding on to what Joey said, they really help with like recruiting and like helping you through that whole process of like getting hired for internships. And then a lot of people in Tamid who have been at those internships for a while have gone on to like start there after they graduate. So yeah, just joining clubs is probably the best way to like do that.
Isabella had asked a question about clubs. So Oliver, Talia, other clubs worth mentioning that you guys have been exposed to and maybe joined?
I joined an investment banking club this winter, and it's kind of the same thing that Joey and Lauren said. It's like you join the club, and then they're very willing to like help you with your resume. You do a lot of like interview prep, and there's like learning sessions like after club meetings where they teach you about like information related to the field, and there's like spreadsheets of like emails, and if someone works somewhere and they had a relationship with someone at the company, they have like their email, and they're more than willing to send a referral for you. So they're more than willing to help you with networking.
Some clubs that I've joined, one of them is like this club for like Jewish pre-meds. And you kind of just like learn more about like the whole pre-med process, and like you kind of get connected with like people at UCLA who are Jewish and also like share like a similar career path with you. And another club I joined was this dental club, just so I can like explore like my different options and see like what type of pre-health path I want to pursue in the future. And I definitely like recommend like joining different clubs, like seeing what like if like you're not sure what you want to pursue in the future, like it's really good and it's like eye-opening. It gives you a lot of insight into like what you want to do in the future.
Other than maybe Rachel wanting to learn about her brother's reputation on campus, any other possible inquiries? Talia, you just touched on Jewish life or that pre-med Jewish group. Have any of you gotten deeply involved in a Jewish organization in year one? Lauren?
Yeah, I would say that I've been like fairly involved in Hillel. They've been doing like a lot of online stuff compared to like the other parts of UCLA. Like they've had a lot of events. And then there's also this thing called like Persian Community of Hillel, which is just like all the Persian Jewish kids at UCLA. And they've actually had some in-person stuff, which has been pretty nice. But like the Hillel building has been open, and like you can go get food there. And like for those who are living there, you can like go like have Shabbat or like pick up Shabbat food. So they offer a lot. And like I've also like done some like discussion class things with them, and like that's also been a great way to meet people. So there's definitely a good like Jewish and like Persian social life there, and it's been really nice.
To add on, as Lauren was saying, I've also been like fairly involved with like Hillel and like PCH, the Persian community at Hillel. And Hillel, like they have had a lot of online events so far. And they actually like, I believe they had like their first in-person Shabbat last Friday. I wasn't able to go to that, but like they're starting to like open up things again. So like that kind of like makes me like hopeful for like next year. Like maybe like we'll go back, like actually back to in-person learning. But yeah, it's like really nice. Like you meet a lot of new people in these clubs, people who are like similar to you too. So it's just like a great way to like network.
Celine, how was dinner? Great. Lauren, any questions? Lauren, Kayla, Davina, younger folk.
What's something unique to your school that you really appreciate that you didn't find elsewhere?
I don't know how unique this is, but I've been to like a good amount of like college campuses like that I've visited. And like I honestly think UCLA is the most beautiful, like by far. Like it's honestly gorgeous. And like I've gone on walks there right now because like that, and like also picnics. They have like a really nice place to like sit. And it's honestly just like so nice to be on campus, and the weather's like amazing. So I think that's one great thing thing about it.
I'd probably say in-state tuition. No, I'm joking.
Well, let's be real. I mean,
yeah,
that
no,
counts.
it is a factor. It's pretty nice. My parents going from Milken to in-state tuition are enjoying that. Kind of what Lauren said. It's really a beautiful campus, and I think you also. I know we've lived in LA our whole lives, but being in LA is also an asset too. You know, it opens up a lot of potential possibilities. The weather is fantastic. You know, just a lot of things we've taken for granted living here our whole life. You know, sometimes you don't realize what you're losing until you actually leave. So it's kind of actually, I've learned to appreciate LA more.
That was like a poem, Joey. If this whole business econ thing doesn't work out, maybe like English lit, my gosh. That was like Moran worthy.
We're leaving all the options on the table.
Ooh, I tell you. Any other things unique to UCLA that you might not? Oh, Kayla Rastegard is raising her hand. I love this hand raising. I've never been so formal in my life. Please.
I guess I have a question on like high school because I'm a junior. Maybe like, what did you guys do in high school that like led you guys to go on to UCLA? Because I know it's like a prestigious school.
Well, Lauren worked with me. I mean, what more can a student possibly need and want and ask for? Oliver, really nothing. When Oliver got in, we were shocked. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. You can answer Kayla's question. Oliver, start with you. What were you involved in?
I think just making sure you're doing a lot of extracurriculars that you actually like. Cause like I sometimes just did like random stuff. And then when you get to the supplements, like if you didn't actually like do it, then you have nothing to write about and it's not going to be worthy of like your time. And also like make sure you actually like use your college counselor and like take their help. Like I made Miss Jackson read my supplements like at least 4 times each, and like every time she read it, she like brought something new to the table that I think really helped me like put my best self out there. So definitely doing extracurriculars you like, and then also making sure you don't just think, oh, like I can write this myself, or like saving something for the last minute. Like that's how you're gonna get stressed out and write something that's not worthy of like getting you into the college you want.
Lauren, why'd you just smile?
As you may know, I did do mine a bit last minute, I would say. Thank God it worked out. But yeah, just like to answer the question, I think it's just important to like create a narrative for yourself in your application. So like I looked at like all my extracurriculars and like I don't know, everything that I've done in high school, all my classes, and kind of created a story through that, and explain my interest through like the way I answer the questions on my application. But like you still have time, like as a junior, to like do specific things that you're interested in, and make sure it's all like connected to each other, I would say. So I took like the business, like econ, entrepreneurship, that kind of path. But yeah, just make sure the extracurriculars all like fit that certain story that you're trying to create. And yeah, you don't want everything to be all like random. Like they want to see like a specific candidate for the school.
That's a great point, Lauren. And to the juniors in the room, we're going to spend a lot of time on the narrative piece as you guys embark on the summer and our writing workshops and things like that. That's a piece that you don't necessarily develop independently. That's going to be in consultation with your counselor as we start working together. But that's a really well said point.
If I could add like a couple more things. So first off, like I know this is kind of implied, but take rigorous courses that you're interested in. You have to show them that you've been challenging yourself, you know. Doesn't mean you have to take every single honors class, every single AP class, but you also have to show them that you've been, you know, trying to challenge yourself. Also, kind of what Oliver touched upon, I'd say it's key to have a few extracurriculars and activities outside of school that you're very passionate about and write about those. As opposed, it's about quality, not quantity. Because also the way the UC application works is you don't send them your Common App essay. You have to send like 4 kind of larger essays. And if you have a bunch of things that you're involved in, but you're kind of half-heartedly doing them. Trying to write an essay on something like that is a little bit difficult. So I'd say try to really focus. Like I was involved, I ran 2 clubs. I founded a club and I took over another club in my last year. And then like also I like sports was a big thing for me. And I tried to like, again, like Lauren said, create a narrative and show like the type of person that those activities made me, what type of characteristics were involved in being a leader and those type of things. So I'd say definitely try to pay attention to quality over quantity.
Well said.
Adding on to what Joey said, just about like extracurricular activities, I would also say like being like consistent, like not doing like a bunch of different things for like a month, 2 months, but like just like staying consistent, like doing something like year long, or maybe even like 2 years, 3 years that like you're really passionate about. I'd like really recommend that as well.
Any other questions? Jonathan, do you want to say something?
Yeah, sorry. Back to the subject of networking. I mean, like outside of clubs, I know that's a very important resource, but also like how much, obviously, again, I don't know if you guys have had that much like interaction with them, but how much has like the UCLA like staff and admin actually helped with that stuff?
I honestly don't think it's like as helpful as it would be to go to a private school, let's say, but I have been getting like emails from UCLA talking about like different networking, like what's it called? Like fairs and like different like speakers and lectures to like provide you with resources and stuff. So I think like if you take advantage of like the things that they offer to you, you can definitely like be successful with that. But it's not going to like be handed to you. You definitely have to like go out and get it yourself. So you'd have to attend these like networking fairs and like things like that. And then you can definitely like, yeah.
I completely agree with what Lauren just said. Like I have friends who go to same age as us who go to, smaller private schools. And obviously they hold your hand a little bit more, you might think they have more opportunities. I'd say the main difference is here, you have to actively go out and take advantage of the opportunities and you have to go and find them. Whereas my friends have been kind of telling me that they've been kind of nudged into it a little more by counselors. So I think if you're a driven person and if you're if you're driven and you want to go out and find opportunities, they're absolutely there at UCLA. You just have to take advantage of them.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Anything else for our LA freshmen? Jonathan, are you closer to a decision?
I think so. A little bit, yeah.
No pressure, no pressure. Any other questions for our Milken UCLA students from anybody, juniors or seniors, or have we had a robust dialogue and we're good to go? Okay, well, to the seniors, congrats on your admission. You have a lot to be proud of. To our UCLA freshmen, you guys were phenomenal. I've been texting your former college counselors, letting them know how great you guys were and are. I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us tonight. And to the juniors, thanks for joining. And I don't think I work with any of the juniors in the room, but I look forward to seeing you guys on campus at some point soon. And again, alumni, thank you so much for spending time with us. Continue to be as successful as you've been. Good luck on finals. And hopefully we can connect sometime soon in person. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good luck, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manguda. Have a good one.
Thank you. It was excellent. Have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you. You too.